feel like I'm not supposed to forget something. Honestly, the new Prius, kind of sick. Looks like a Model 3. So, this coffee setup, A+. Absolute A+. So, just wrapped up the 73 questions with PM&R. So, I do have a question for you though.
Okay.
Do you remember the first either resident or attending that you ever met and was like, that is who I want to be when I grow up?
Yes, but it was in a different field. It was actually a breast surgeon, and only because of how she talked to her patients. She was just like really amazing. She always, because she would like cure people's breast cancer, she had these cute little bracelets that she paid for out of pocket, and she would give them to them when she like deemed they were cancer free. Just like how she dealt with patients were awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Bro.
Hello, hello.
Welcome back.
What the?
Hey, Aaron.
Yeah, what's up?
What's up? So,
Why are you sitting here? What's going on?
I'm in the Med School Boys frat house.
Oh, shoot. Hey, MTV, welcome to the crib. Let me show you all around real quick.
What year are you?
I am a third year. It's crazy to think. I'm a third year medical student. What the?
How many rotations have you gone through so far?
3. OB-GYN, peds, and family medicine. Just wrapped up family medicine.
So, do you remember one experience, whether it was an attending or a resident, where you saw them and you were like, you are the doctor that I want to become one day?
Oh, easy. Family medicine. Family medicine's weird. We were inpatient week. I was under a resident, second year resident. That man had a lot of like patience, and it gave me like a lot of grace in terms of like writing my note. You know, I think it took me like 3 or 4 times to actually get like a proper assessment and plan. And he was like, yeah, I don't know about this one. I don't know, but he was like very like respectful with it and like very patient. Like, because I mean,
You're a student.
You're a student.
Yeah.
And he was like, he can easily relate to me because he's literally like, he was like a medical student like 2 years ago. So he was like really patient.
Yeah.
Versus I feel like if it was someone else, like, I don't know, someone higher up in the chain, it would be like, this is absolute dog, you know, like terrible.
And how did that kind of grace affect, your performance and your comfort in that rotation?
I mean, the fact that I could literally communicate with him, like, okay, what do you want me to do with this? Like, he clearly communicated what he wanted. And by the time I got to my last note, it was like perfect. He's like, this is perfect. It was like the last note as I was heading out. It was like, this is exactly what I want. Good job. And I was like, thank you. And I literally thanked him. I was like, bro, thank you so much for just having that patience with me, you know? Like, I feel like if everyone who taught like academically in the field of medicine just had that patience, and just like the first time around just didn't get like, oh, like, what do you do? You know, like, it would just pay dividends. So that's my experience.
Welcome to clinicals.
Yeah, 100%. Welcome to clinicals.
Hey, Vietnamese coffee supremacy.
Bro, I asked for a small. This is like a medium.
It's a schmedium right there.
You think she hooked it up? I think she hooked it up.
Hey, sorry. Oh. So you're also in third year, right?
I am a third year student. Yep, that's correct.
Have you encountered in your few rotations a doctor attending a resident where you were like, this is the doctor I want to become?
You know, I've had the privilege of encountering a few of them, but there's one orthopedic surgeon that I worked with who specialized in hip and knee replacements. And it was actually in clinic, it wasn't even the OR. His knowledge was so extensive beyond just, the medical stuff and what you learn in medical school. So he was counseling one patient that was getting, wanting to get a potential knee replacement on like nutrition, weight loss, and his knowledge was just so extensive, man. Like, he was talking about like intermittent fasting, very specific nutrition plans, and at one point I'm like, is this guy even a surgeon or is he like a family practice doc? You know what I mean? And so I think some of the surgeons I'd seen were very quick to just, hey, let's do surgery, let's make it happen. But, his approach was very, I don't want to say conservative because, he's the type of guy that'll, give surgery when it's necessary. But it just seemed like he really cared about his patients, and his knowledge was just so impressive. Like, you could tell that he has done so much like reading and research beyond just what you have to learn in medical school and residency. I felt like I looked at him and I was like, wow, I want to, I'm interested in family practice potentially as well, or primary care. And I feel like, I don't want to just rely on what I learned in school and in my training. It kind of motivated me to go beyond that and constantly keep up with research and just be a diversified physician in like many sectors. So I saw him and I'm like, wow. I mean, again, that's the best way to put it. I'm like, is this guy an orthopedic surgeon or is he a family practice doc? Because, his management of obesity and like ways to kind of counter that were so impressive, and it just it blew my mind. It was pretty incredible.
Yeah. A chance to cut is a chance to heal. No, but seriously, how was his interactions with you as a student? Because I think surgery in particular has a pretty bad rap with like student interactions, especially when you're like a fresh third year.
Yeah, no, it was great, man. And what's funny is people told me, they're like, don't tell surgeons that you don't want to go into surgery because they'll get mad at you. But I was super upfront with him, and actually our entire time in the OR, like he didn't waste his time like explaining to me the nuances of the equipment and that sort of stuff. It was all clinical management. It was all life conversations. And as a surgery is my first rotation, so there were times where I wasn't even understanding the flow of the OR completely, and I would just ask him a question in the middle of him doing like an intense leg maneuver or something in surgery, and he still made the time of day to talk to me. And again, it kind of crushed any stereotypes I had about the field. And I'm not saying that's everyone, but man, he was incredibly patient with me. I felt like I was asking some pretty stupid questions. People say don't ask questions because, don't worry about asking questions and don't think they're stupid questions, but I definitely worry about that a lot sometimes. And he was super nice and super patient with me, and no matter what he was doing, he would give me the time of day, right? And so he was incredible.
How did that impact just your comfort level with it, especially being your first rotation, like that transition from pre-clerkships to clerkships? How did that interaction like set you up for success throughout the rest of the year?
It was, I feel like it set me up really well, and I feel like you would think that it kind of set the bar high, because then it almost made me feel like, man, like what if other surgeons, other physicians don't have this level of patience and that sort of thing. But actually something he told me during that rotation was to not take things personally, and he kind of hit that and like battered it into my mind, where a lot of times physicians, you never know what they're going through in their life. You don't know what type of personal circumstances they have. You don't know what they're what's going on in their life. And so I think that, I feel like, sometimes I was like, is this a philosophy class or like a surgery rotation? You know what I mean? So I feel like he gave me almost like a manual on like how to approach the rest of like clerkship and life in medicine. So I don't know. It set me up real well, man. I'm super grateful for him, and one of the best physicians I've ever seen in my life.
Shout out ortho surgeons.
Yeah, y'all are, not all of you guys are ortho bro-y, and he wasn't even a sports fan too. You know what I mean? Like, so.
Ortho
crazy.
bro, not a sports fan?
Yeah.
That exists?
Crazy.
What grade is me? Texas? 10 out of 10 so far. Five stars. Dude, this city is so dog friendly, I'm gonna cry. I want to steal all the dogs here. It's a bluey.
You're gonna become wanted.
It's a bluey. Absolutely, children. And you guys remember this guy?
Wondering if pigeons in New York have New York accents, or if they have British accents, like in every movie, or if that's just a facade or fallacy. What? No, I'm not high.
What's up? OG of the vlogs. One of the homies that helped travel with me back when I filmed with Cellini.
Yep.
So it's
Good times, good times.
it's been a long
It's
while
been a
since
minute.
then.
Welcome to Texas, though. Welcome to Austin.
I love it here.
Glad to have you.
Might want to come here for residency.
Question mark?
So there's this quote from one of my favorite books of all time, The Alchemist, that kind of reads like this. This continues to give me hope. When I read about clashes around the world, political clashes, economic clashes, cultural clashes, I'm reminded that it is within our power to build a bridge to be crossed. Even if my neighbor doesn't understand my religion or understand my politics, he can understand my story. If he can understand my story, then he's never too far from me. It is always within my power to build a bridge. There's always a chance for reconciliation, a chance that one day he and I will sit around the table together and put an end to our history of clashes. And on this day, he will tell me his story and I will tell him mine. And that is one of my favorite quotes that have quite literally inspired a large percentage of my personal statement. And the message from that quote is pretty central to how I've kind of interpreted, one, making connections between students and residents, and two, the reason why I love traveling so much. The best residents and doctors that I've ever interacted with are those who remember that, one, there's a life outside of medicine, two, the residents and students working under you are humans too, and three, kind of a rule of thumb I use for interviews is that the best conversations, especially within the medical environment, actually aren't about medicine at all. And some of the first doctors and residents that I looked up to in the clinical environment were people who acknowledged me as me because they remember, hey, I was a student once too. There's no need to be rude, arrogant, and almost dictating. They are physicians who gave up this whole idea of because I had it terrible, you have to have it terrible too. But then they take it a step further, and I remember residents, especially with this channel, I never ever bring it up when I'm on rotations, but when they ask me about it, I'm not gonna deny it. And the residents that sat down, asked me about it, were so interested in what I was doing outside and acknowledged the importance of that, showcased the power of sitting down across the table and sharing stories. And I'm lucky enough that that other resident had a background in photography, videography, but especially now in my fourth year when I get a little bit of time to travel, I love exploring, learning about different cultures and experiencing different cities because it builds up stories for me that no matter what student, no matter what attending, no matter what co-resident I interact with, I could have a bridge to build. And that's something that I would greatly encourage any student or even current resident to do right now as they interact with people that maybe at least in the medical world less experienced than them. Build a bridge, tell each other stories, and no matter the differences, there will always be a chance for reconciliation and cooperation. And who knows, maybe you'll bump into each other in a new city years and years along from now.